All right, this is the read out loud for all these documents about the social impacts on people. So, document 1 says people in London, Britain, hid in subway underground train stations to avoid German bombs. By 4 p.m., all the platforms and passage space of the underground station are staked out, chiefly with blankets folded in long strips laid against the wall, for the trains are still running and the platforms in use. A woman or child guards places for about 6 people. When the evening comes, the rest of the family crowd in. This is from an eyewitness account. Remember, this is in London. Document 2. After France surrendered, Germany started bombing British cities. When morning came, we left the shelter and made our way home. There was no home. All that was left was a pile of bricks. We had nowhere to live except the shelter, and that was to be our home for 6 months. A victim of bombing from Liverpool, which is in Britain. Document 3. Battle of Stalingrad. Unable to break out, the Germans also had to face winter. Temperatures dropped to well below zero, and food, ammunition, and heat were in short supply. My hands were done for, and have been since the beginning of December. The little finger on my left hand is missing, and what's even worse, the 3 middle fingers on my right one are frozen. I can only hold my mug with my thumb and little finger. I'm pretty helpless. Only when a man has lost any fingers does he see how much he needs them for the smallest job. Best thing I can do with the little finger is to shoot with it. My hands are finished. Anonymous German soldier. All right, document 4. Sometimes it's helpful to see who it's from first. This is Deli Haney, an educator who worked as a nurse's aide for the Red Cross during the war. I think a lot of women said, screw that noise, because they had a chance for freedom. They had a taste of making their own money, a taste of spending their own money, making their own decisions. I think of the beginning of the women's movement had its seeds right there in World War II. All right, I'm going to zoom out a little bit here because I want you to see the pictures. All right, you have document 5 says it's kind of before and after or like comparison. The top shows without rationing, and take a notice at this face and this kind of rich woman and this maybe not as rich woman and the shelves behind. And it says rationing means a fair share for all of us. And then look at this one. Look at the smiles. Look at how much they're all getting. And look at the shelves behind them. And it says with rationing. Herbert Rosie, rationing means a fair share for all of us. American Office of Price Administration, 1943. And then you got document 6 here. Plant a victory garden. You can see that they're planting here and they got lots of food. Our food is our fight. A garden will make your rations go further. It says plant a victory garden. Our food is fighting. Office of War Information, 1943. Document 7. Home front of Japan. By 1945, civil defense units were transformed into combat units, especially the People's Volunteer Combat Corps, enlisting civilian men up to the age 60 and women up to age 40. They were trained with bamboo pikes since serious weapons were lacking. The Japanese media advocated the Laurel's suicide of death of 100 million to defend the nation. Home front during World War II. 2014, November 20th, in Wikipedia of the United States, or Wikipedia, the Free Encyclopedia, retrieved that day. So it's not about the home front in that year. That's when it was taken off of Wikipedia. Document 8, home front and occupation, World War II. Instead of expanding the economies of the occupied nations, the Nazis seized the portable machinery and rail cars, that means stolen, requisitioned most of the industrial output, took large quantities of food, 15% of French output, and forced the victims to pay for their military occupation. Home front during World War II. Remember, this is where it was accessed on Wikipedia, not the years it's being talked about here. Document 8, Kamikaze Pilots. I firmly believe that the only way to swing the war in our favor is to resort to crash dive attacks with our planes. There will be more than enough volunteers for this chance to save our country. That's a Japanese naval captain, Motohara Okamura. All right, another photo. This is document 9, and you can see it's an old car, but something's weird about the bumper here, and she's pointing to it. Beyond rationing gas for their cars, people wanted to help in the war effort by removing their metal car bumpers and then replacing them with wooden ones. The metal was then sent to places like Pennsylvania, where recycled metal was used for ships and other items. All right, hopefully that helps you understand these different documents and you can use them for your writing.